What is going on, everybody, and welcome once again to the Saturday Night Shenanigans here across multiple channels on YouTube. We are on the Simple Man's brand. We are on the J. Hebert Studios. We are on the Casa D18 Studios. And it is I, your host and moderator, the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams. How's everybody doing this evening? Good to see everyone start filing in. Safet's here. Daniel's here. It's Saturday Shenanigans time. Absolutely. Some of the crew is running a little bit late tonight, so you're going to have to forgive them. But there is one man who is here to join me at the beginning, and there's a reason why he is Mr. Reliable. Walter Cruz is in the house. What is up, Walter?
Nothing much. How's it going?
And things have been a lot better, as you know, via private chat. I don't really want to put all that out here, but you know.
Yeah, I hear you.
I've had better days. But we're here today, as always, to discuss professional wrestling, damn it, and the news of the week. It's been a little bit to discuss this week. You know, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a quieter week than it really was. I mean, we got an announcement of a upcoming Netflix documentary. We're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to discuss the pay-per-views and PLEs that have occurred since our last broadcast. You know, we went all in. We had an Emergence last night, Bash in Berlin today. Of course, we've got No Mercy tomorrow. We'll do a little bit of conversation about should the media scrums be canceled altogether. I know there's been some questionable questions at the last two scrums, specifically All In and Bash in Berlin. You know, do the companies need to start vetting these quote unquote journalists, or should they be allowed to ask the hard hitting questions? That's kind of what a journalist is there for, to get the stories, to get the answers to the hard hitting questions. So are they within their right to ask the stuff they've been asking? I'm going to get to all that here this evening. Of course, as always, if you at home want to dictate the conversation, super chat, it's as simple as that. I am going to be honest, this may be the first month where I don't get a payout since I got monetized due to all the stuff that went on earlier in the month. But that is what it is. So where do we want to start, Walter, while we wait for everybody? I think the easiest thing to start with would be tonight's I guess I should say this morning's Bash in Berlin show. So conditioned to the pay-per-views being at nighttime. The daytime ones kind of throw me off. You know, woke up, turned on the television, caught some of the pre-show. Hell, when I woke up, we weren't even live yet. Like, we went live like about 15 minutes after I woke up. So,
Oh, wow.
But I did get to catch our coverage of pretty much everything except the main event. The main event, I was showering, getting ready to go to work. I did see probably about the last 10 minutes of the main event. I saw Gunther retain, obviously. You know, normally when we do Simply Predictings, Noah asks me to predict the match order. And I gotta say, even though he didn't ask me to do that this time, the match order went the way I would have called it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not just saying that because of the way everything came out, but I figured Gunther deserves the main event.
Hell yeah.
So bookend the show with the other world title match, have Cody start it. Then I figured the second match in the semi-main needed to be the tag matches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which tag match is more important? One's for titles, one's for vengeance. Unfortunately, the one for vengeance is more important. So that needs
Mm-hmm.
to be the semi main and throw the women's tag as the second match. And then you got the strap match right there in the middle. Like in my head, that just seemed to be the perfect way to go.
Yeah.
And that's the way they went. So I am a little bit happy about that. Not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, we won't go match by match, but overall, how did you feel about the Bash in Berlin show today? What
I
would you
felt
rank it out of 10? What was the match of the night in your opinion?
oh, wow. It felt awesome. I say about an 8 out of 10. I did get one surprise, even though you and I have been vouching for Jade so much and everything. You and I are like the big supporters. I was a little surprised that they won back the tag titles. Um, but overall, I think even though the strap match had blood and everything, it was good. I think for the moment and for Gunther and being in that country and how the crowd was, I think the main event was the match of the night, to be honest.
Okay.
And I really loved the crowd reaction and just everything. And they really got me. There was a few times where Orton looked like he might be pulling this out. And then I was like, nah, hell no, no way that they would do that. But Orton kind of made a believer out of me with some of the stuff he did. And even though he's in that babyface role, he did some tactics that even KO didn't do in the beginning. He saw Gunther had a weakness and he went for it. And he put him through tables, the German table at that. Like that's a real dick move to do that in Germany. Put him put the champion through a German table, announce
Hey,
table.
how many years was it the Spanish announce table always got jacked up?
Yeah, it was.
So it
It was
just
an
seemed
ongoing thing.
fitting. It just seemed fitting. There was no Spanish announce table, so they did it to the German table.
Yeah, it's true. That was an ongoing thing too, man. But yeah, I
Like
think that was the
every
match.
pay per view, and sometimes even on Raw, Spanish
Yeah,
announce table.
yeah, it's as bad as what we say that the whoever sets up the table in a match is gonna be the ones going through it. It's the Spanish table was almost as bad as that. But yeah, overall, I say 8 out of 10. I'm glad living. I mean, sorry. Yeah, living Dom got what was coming to him, but I think that's far from over. The results of Punk and Drew, that's far from over because there's got to be a third one. It's tied now, so it's a little weird. Now I'm more forward. I'm more looking forward to the fallout of this PLE.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think there's going to be some interesting developments here in the not so distant future.
Mm-hmm.
Where we go from here, what matches happen next. Do we get a third match at Bad Blood now? I mean, by all accounts, Gunther has one, Randy has one. So do we get the rubber match at Bad Blood?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it should be interesting to see, like we said, where things go from here.
Mm-hmm. Why not? I mean, you can even pull the trigger. You don't have to turn somebody. You just did it with KO and Cody. Why can't Kaiser get a shot at that title against Gunther as a friendly competition? We both have the goal of making this sport great. How much greater can we make it if us two face off one on one for the title? And
Yeah, exactly.
championship when you have privilege when you have the championship, you can put out who you want to challenge. That's what Cody did. So why can't Gunther say I'd rather challenge my protege so he can step up his game and I want to put the title on the line? You can even do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just so much. There are certain people though that I want to keep away from Gunther for right now because I don't think it's their time yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of people want to see Gunther and Ilya Dragunov. I'm not ready for that one just yet. Ilya's been on a losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of people that think that maybe Braun Breaker will be the one to dethrone Gunther. Not ready to see that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the rest of the crew is starting to pop in. First person we'll bring on stage here is the man who called the action with you, the simple man with the spectacular voice, Noah Foster. Good evening, good sir.
Hello. I'm tired.
I
Man.
think we all are a little bit, good sir, but it's all good. We're here, we're grinding. Right now, we're just giving a little bit of chatter about Bash in Berlin. I will get your thoughts momentarily. Let me go ahead and bring the Heeb Man into the room.
I tried so fucking hard to be on time. I swear I can never get off the fucking phone with my boss. I tried so hard.
And got so far, but in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
had
how
a
it feels.
different issue. Nature called me almost at the last minute.
Noah, like I said, I was going to get your thoughts here. Me and Walter were talking just briefly about Bash in Berlin. What were your overall thoughts on the show? What was the best match? I know we don't usually do like ratings here, like some NorCal journalists, but just overall of the show, what would you give it out of 10? Walter said a solid 8 out of 10. What are your thoughts, having watched everything and called the action along with him and Big Baller G, who I'm sure is in the chat room as well, lurking about?
Yeah, I think there was a decent amount of action during the show. Everybody definitely put in a fair amount of work, but I think definitely the match tonight, you got to give it a good for Randy Orton. It definitely was technically taxing, physically challenging, but they got what they needed done in the end. Respect was garnered. It was definitely one of those sleeper matches that they did in the ring mostly, and Randy Orton definitely showed a different side and tested Goon for unlike anybody we've seen lately in WWE since Ilya Dragunov and Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. They told an emotional story. It was a great story. It played out, and Kevin Owens' emotions was his downfall. He was unwilling to do whatever it takes to become the WWE undisputed champion, unlike his previous run with the NXT title and the Universal Championship. While we move away from the past and friendship remains strong in the end, friendship conquers all, I suppose. The rest of the show was subpar. You had the Terror Twins beat the Street Trash. You had the constant, ever evolving props change hands once again unnecessarily. And you had a very emotional strap match with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, where in the end, he finally got what he was seeking for. He was looking for revenge, redemption, resolution, got his family bracelet back, and I'm not one to rate. I just simply watch what I watch. But between presentation, intermission, overall, my simple take, it was a simple show that I enjoyed. It would have been far better without the Peacock bullshit interface, but I enjoyed everything I was brought to see in the ring outside Isla Dawn and Alba Fire losing the tag titles, where I believe they should have been the ones to keep the division going forward, where I think there's more potential in Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill being singles competitors. But yeah, I think for what WWE was bringing forward, the audience definitely helped move the show. Why I only look at truly one, maybe two matches at the most. But kudos to CM Punk getting his first WWE career win since coming back, of course, back since last year's Survivor Series. You can't argue what Gunther, Randy Orton brought in the end, what Cody and Kevin Owens did when they first began, and I think the show was all right for what it's worth. I don't rate. I think rating is overrated, but I'll say 8 out of 10 as well.
I was gonna say he sounds like Dave Meltzer, but actually coherent because he still has the
He sounds like Quagmire. You ever see that Family Guy episode when he talked over the radio and he's like,
"That's true, yeah.
Florida."
He right now he's Cleveland from Family Guy after he got hit in the head, which made him have slow, slurred speech. And 895 going once, $8.95 going twice.
Oh,
So,
I,
but
I
he said,
I'm always gonna agree with you as far as the WWE bullshit.
Yeah.
The superstar video packages are definitely a little bit drawn out.
Yeah,
But
thank
I
you.
kind of agree with what Walter was saying on commentary earlier tonight that despite that, everything still kind of flowed pretty well tonight to this morning, whatever. Like I said when I first started talking with Walter, we're so conditioned to these being at night. The daytime ones kind of throw me off a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But I know how disappointed you are, Noah, that Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray, as you continued calling her on commentary today, did not retain the titles. But you got to know how happy I am that my girls won. I mean, like I said on Simply Predicting, that match I was so torn about.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
it's
let's be honest, JJ. They only gave the belts to Bianca and Jade so they can shut the idiot morons up on the community that are saying Triple H is being racist to black people. Like, shut the fuck up.
I don't think
Shut
that's
up.
it at all. Like I think this was the plan all along. You
Yeah,
know,
probably.
they never beat Bianca and Jade. So when they finally got their rematch, they were going to get them back. What surprised me the most, and I pointed this out in commentary, is that there was no Blair Davenport or Naomi involved. They actually let them go straight up.
There you go.
I thoroughly thought that Blair was going to get involved. I thought Naomi was going to get involved. And you can ask Noah. I called on Simply Predicting that there would be a heel turn, but Naomi was going to turn on Bianca and Jade.
Yeah, I said that too. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. She's kind of the forgotten third one, basically.
Exactly. She wrestled with them at WrestleMania, and then it's been the Bianca and Jade show while Naomi keeps eating up loss after loss.
Well, I mean,
So what better
yeah.
way to get kind of thrust back in the spotlight and put the attention back on her, but to turn heel, prevent Bianca and Jade from winning the titles, thereby giving Alba and Isla retention. And then you can have a triple singles feud because you can have Bianca versus Naomi, Jade versus Naomi, triple threat matches, which could end up leading to the tension starting between Bianca and Jade as we get closer towards Rumble season and moving into Mania.
I mean, there's your female equivalent to the Oba Femi triple threat match that happened earlier this year, too.
Women's tag team wrestling is still relevant.
I think the entire tag team division, not just women's, men and women, are kind of irrelevant, to be honest. The fact that they can only fit one tag team match per show and it's always the women, like, what are we doing with the men? Were the men's tag team titles on the show? I actually didn't watch
No,
the
they
show.
weren't. They
Okay,
weren't.
yeah.
There were only 5 matches.
Dude.
Both world titles were defended, bookended the show.
Mm-hmm.
They had the strap match in the middle, and then you had the women's tag titles, and you had Priest and Rhea versus Dom and Liv.
Straight trash.
Yep. Hey, Walter, don't fall asleep on us, bud.
Noah looks like he's about to doze too.
I'm not falling asleep. I just that's why I went on mute. I just don't want to interrupt.
Oh, fair dues.
Yeah.
No, I was like, that was like the big thing to me. Like, I can't give my shots on the show yet because I haven't watched, but I do think, and this is a problem that I think Triple H he's in a rut here. He's got great shows, but he's doing them takeover style. I don't think you can get away with that on the main roster anymore. I really don't.
I disagree.
There's a reason why NXT was the standout pro wrestling brand versus Raw and SmackDown. Why Triple H tries to incorporate that with these international house shows that are more felt like PLEs only because of the audience reception, but it's a different take. And I will say this: at least these PLEs are a bit more engaging and entertaining because of the drive of the international audience.
Counterpoint, though, and I think the reason while all that is true, and I agree that in some cases less is more. Look at how much talent you got not using on PLEs at all. That's a problem.
That's why speed
disagree.
exists. Now speed exists for the women.
I completely disagree, James. And here's my reason behind it. While yes, WWE, TKO Endeavor, whatever, is a billion-dollar organization, a multi-billion-dollar organization, there is such a thing as smart business. If all of your B-rated pay-per-views, PLEs, are going to be international, why are you going to fly out the entire roster if you don't need to?
I'm not saying the entire roster. I agree with
Okay,
that.
but they've been doing the SmackDown shows there, so you already need the SmackDown talent.
Right.
Then you only need what Raw talent is actually going to be factored into the show. You don't need to fly out half the roster, 3/4 of the roster, whatever.
Right.
So by doing these takeover style 5 to 6 matches, giving the wrestlers more time in the ring instead of giving me a 10-minute match or a 7-minute match like was the thing back in the days when we were having these almost TK like 10-match pay-per-view cards for WWE.
No, I agree with that.
I
They
think
don't
this
need to
is
go that
so
far.
much better. They're giving you matches that matter and using the in-between time, the Raws and the SmackDowns, to build up the stories so that you get a little bit of a rotation on the PLEs. With the exception of Cody and now Gunther going forward, it used to be Priest, you're really only going to see the 2 world champions on every PLE. Everything else is going to more or less be a rotation.
Okay.
You know, think about it. There was no IC title this time. There was no US title. We had
Okay.
tag titles instead.
Yeah, but they had. Okay.
So now
So
we're getting ready to start an Intercontinental title tournament
right.
to see who Braun Breaker's next challenge is going to be. That match will probably culminate at the next PLE.
Mm-hmm.
US title, LA Knight is starting to go through people. We're going to slow burn to whoever his next opponent's going to be.
I guarantee you it's going to be whoever wins between Andrade and Carmelo, more than likely.
Which is great. Let me get Melo versus LA Knight.
Right.
Andrade versus LA Knight would be decent, but I think Melo would give him a better match. And Melo, I think, needs it more. I'm not saying lose the title to Melo just yet, but I think Melo versus LA Knight is a better draw.
So I agree with everything that you said. I'm not saying include everybody on the card. I completely vehemently disagree with that. I don't think you need to.
No.
I agree with that.
No.
What I am saying is I think you don't need to not have an extra 2 matches on the card. I think you don't need to just stick with 5. I think you can get away with 7. And I say that because, well, yes, 5 means, oh, well, the show's over, quite honestly. The problem is, and this is the problem with the takeovers too, and I never liked this about takeovers as much as I love the takeover Black and Gold era. There's a lot of fluff, a lot of advertisements, a lot of crap there that just filled time. There was a lot of time fillers. I think Noah, you can agree with that one.
Always been freaking WWE more than any damn buddy.
Right. What my issue with that is, you can still have those. There's ways to do them. You're allowed to do freaking advertisements on the ring aprons or whatever, the LEDs, for crying out loud. Why can't you give more time to matches as opposed to fluff? Hence why I say there's no reason you can't do another 2 matches at the least. And I
The
say
problem
that
is
because
you can't win because they'll add the 2 matches, put it on the pre-show, and then everybody will bitch that it's on the pre-show. Well, why is
they
it on the
don't
pre-show?
need to, I'm not saying you need to even have it on the pre-show. You can have it on the main card.
No,
I say-
I get you, but the problem with doing that, and this is a great side tangent I wasn't expecting. The problem with doing that is that inevitably you're going to take time away from a different match. You know, Triple H has been giving these guys 25, 30, sometimes 40-minute matches on the PLEs. Hell, sometimes on Raw and SmackDown too.
Okay.
Guys have been allowed to go 20 to 30 minutes.
Which I'm totally okay with.
But if you squeeze an extra 2 matches in here, then you're going to take that away.
Not if you add another hour.
And what's the first thing that they're going to cut from? More than likely, the women.
Not if you add another hour. That's my
We don't
argument.
need that. We don't need another hour.
I think
then we end up with the Tony Khan thing with less matches.
No, Tony has 5 hours. It's the difference, though. Tony has 5 hours with 12 matches and so much shit in a 5-pound bag. There's a big difference there.
But the problem is,
but the main card is usually only about 4 hours.
What is it? Only 4 hours? I thought it was 3.
3 hours, 59
3
minutes,
hours.
30 seconds usually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's usually about an hour pre-show and a 3-hour wrestling card.
And their
Tony's an hour pre-show and a 4-hour card.
And their pre-shows actually had matches on it. What a crazy ass concept.
the problem is that WWE exhausted all of us with those long ass WrestleManias, and now I see that they're trying to keep as far away from that as possible, which is a good thing. Stay away from those.
I'm fine with staying far away from that, but I think an extra 2 matches wouldn't hurt.
Here's the thing. It's not about the extra matches. It's about how much time you're giving for wrestling versus marketing, advertising, bullshit. And I guarantee you, when you look at it, it probably was half and half. The fact that these 5 matches took a freaking 3 and some odd hours to do versus how much of that was freaking advertising and marketing is bullshit. Yeah. I'd rather really walking up Speedway to get a coffee than listen to fucking superstar spotlights.
Right. I'd rather quantity get sacrificed over quantity. Give me quantity matches, whether they're just 4 or 5, rather than 7 and 2 of them end up some bullshit that get pissed up. So
okay,
I'd rather quantity. I'd rather quality than quantity.
Okay, let's stick with that argument then, right? That's great and all, but everything has been rotated properly except the fucking tag division. They don't. You cannot, honest to God, look me in the eye, dead ass, and tell me that the tag titles have been rotated fairly. You can't.
No,
you're lying at that point. Like, there's no way.
No, I totally agree with you on that.
It's like, if we're gonna go with that method, at least give the tag titles some shine each PLE. Like,
I agree.
Just the
there are three tag team titles. One of them should be on the line at every PLE.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 men's and a women's.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 2 singles, like mid-card titles, and there's 2 women's titles.
Right.
There's no reason why you shouldn't have both world titles, 1 mid-card title, 1 tag team title. That's 4 matches right there.
Yep.
And then you can have 1 or 2, like, grudge matches, type of matches that don't need a title, like we've been having the Drew and Punk.
Yeah. But that's fine. But the problem
is, and then you get a good 6 matches, which I'm with you as far as 6 goes. 5 I thought was a little bit soft for the international PLE.
Yep.
Hunter lately has been trying to stick to about 6. 7 is where I have a bit of an issue, is I think that's a little bit much. And I just did the math for semantic sakes. I went to the Bash in Berlin wiki, which I know wiki isn't always the most reliable source, so bear with me there, and I did the math. There was approximately an hour and 45 minutes worth of match time combined over the 5 matches out of a 3-hour show, which means there was an hour and 15 minutes of bullshit. Noah's point.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Which Okay. And again, I'm not going to argue you that there's too much bullshit. I co-sign that.
Yeah.
You throw a sixth match on there, take about a good 25 minutes to 30 minutes of that time away. Now you've only got 45 minutes worth of bullshit, which sounds about reasonable when you break it up to the little pre-match promos before each match.
Right. Well, here's the thing that here's my counter argument why you should go with 7 as the hard cutoff. Right. Look at Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle. That was cut for time. One of the greatest opening matches of all fucking time, of any pay-per-view. Like, seriously, like it's fucking great. Still holds up as like one of the greatest SummerSlam bouts to ever happen. So you could easily do one match 15, another match 15, and then the other matches you could have as long as you usually have them. Makes the freaking 3-hour limit, 4-hour limit.
I'm probably gonna catch hell for this, but to be honest, part of it's on the talent too. You want Triple H, you want the people in charge to care about that tag division. When you get the opportunity, go out there and steal the fucking night, and then go in the back and say, "Now follow that, assholes," and force them to have to care about that, and then they'll start believing in you and booking it. That's how it was back in the 80s, the 90s, those early days. The talent made you have to care about that IC title. The people made you care about it, and then booking had the people in charge, and the writers had to go, holy shit, we can't deny anybody. Just like what happened with Daniel Bryan. The fans got up there, and Vince got to the point where he could no longer deny him. So if you go out there as the talent and make them care, then they have no choice. So part of it is on the talent too. Make the most of what you got.
But here's my argument. They were doing that. I mean, they definitely did that by Mania. I venture to guess that there's no reason that they haven't on television, on SmackDown and Raw. You had Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as the tag champions. That was supposed to be a reset for the SmackDown side. And then you had Austin Truth there. Huh? Well, yeah, that's
Waller and Theory are teasing a breakup.
Yeah.
Prince and Miz lost their titles. They've kind of gone their own separate ways.
Yeah. And they're on who now?
To me, NXT has been killing it, but not the main roster as much.
Agree. And James, the tag titles are being held hostage by Bootleg Bloodline.
No, I know on SmackDown, but that's fine. And by the way, the combination that's finally the tag team champion should have been the case any goddamn way. Everybody that's saying that Tonga Loa is a botch machine, you're seeing his shit from singles runs. Don't get me wrong, he botches sometimes in tags too, not nearly as much. Just saying, there was a reason he was the tag guy. I'm just gonna put that out there.
You haven't really seen Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga in tag team action though in WWE. Whatever reason.
And they should be doing it.
And the Raw tag titles are being held by the Bootleg Judgment Day,
which makes them even more irrelevant.
And I assume that's Jordan Devlin and Finn Balor, correct?
And what happened after they won it? I haven't even seen them defend it. Maybe once, maybe?
Okay. So right there, that's a problem, but that's not on the talent. That division's like razor thin on Raw. It's fucking razor thin. I think it's the same on SmackDown to a lesser extent, but it's decent. Like there's a little bit more teams and fluff there. But there's not many teams on either brand. Those, you don't have much going on either way. Like here's a good example. I easily could have seen the Bootleg Judgment Day versus LWO. I mean, shit, they set it up perfectly. Why not? Finn Balor and JD McDonough taking on two members of the LWO.
Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, or
something. Oh my god, that would have fucking blown the roof off the place, especially in Germany.
Yep.
Kidding me? They get to see Rey Mysterio. They get to see their hometown boys. Well, not really hometown boys, but JD McDonough and Finn Balor, two Europe guys
outside of the pond.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would have been perfect to put on this card. That's what I'm saying. It's like I get what you're saying, Walter. Like it's part of the on the talent too. You can only blame the talent so much when you're not giving them matches to care about. And you have enough programs where you could spread them out on multiple divisions. There's no excuse for that not to be the case, especially when the Bootleg Bloodline have the WWE tag straps, and especially when the Bootleg Judgment Day have the Raw tag team straps. You have so much story there. I don't know why you don't add 2 more matches just for that alone.
Who's to say that's not where they're going once the Bootleg Bloodline story is over with? Once Roman gets his revenge and everything, maybe there is a reset and they start focusing on the tag team. But they just focusing on long-term story booking right now.
And I'm totally understanding of that. But you can do long-term story booking in multiple programs because they're all the Judgment Day bleed into everything going on Raw, and the Bloodline shit is bleeding into everything going on SmackDown.
Very much.
So I don't know. Like, you have your A stories that could blend into other sub stories that can make the tag division mean something. And that's why I have an issue with having such a hard set limit to, I gotta freaking do only 5 matches and no other matches. Can't do 7 matches because that's too much, because I don't want to be like Vince. I have the same problem when Tony has to do freaking 12 matches and give nothing to breathe, by the way.
Thankfully, he's actually gone down in that number.
Yeah, well, except for All In.
Wait a minute. 1, 2.
There was 12
3,
matches,
4,
no.
Yeah, the 2 on the kickoff. You're right.
Yep, there was 12 matches.
It wasn't 10 matches. He had to add one the same day.
Yeah, so it's like even if you took the kickoff matches off, right?
Or no, 3 on the kickoff. I forgot.
There was 3 on the kickoff, so he actually had 13 matches. So if you took out the 3 kickoffs, that's 3 fucking, like, that's still, 10 matches?
I mean, the easy way to solve that is you don't have the FTW title, you don't have the TBS title. There you go.
Yeah.
Casino Gauntlet, I mean, pretty much was your perfect filler point for all the other great championship matches that had great stories going into them.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to bring that point because it was.
I mean, that's fair. Again, the business truly, it's Judgment Day call, subjective call on quantity and quality and producing and marketing, branding bullshit that WWE is the ace of.
That's true. I see. I would be fine with 7 if they did 7 every pay-per-view.
The only one that seems to knows how to balance it perfectly with backstage interviews at times and feed into what's about ahead is TNA.
Yep. True. But yeah, that's.
I actually liked TNA's pay-per-view. I liked the pay-per-view more than Bash.
Yeah.
Agree.
JJ, I'll let you host a show back in. Sorry for the sub tangent.
It's okay.
Hell of a takeover there, James.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good. I mean, I have no problem with it.
I got other sub tangents if you want.
I'm sure. Let's hold off though.
Gotcha.
Try and keep this show under 3 hours.
Just one more thing to piggyback off what you're saying. It could just be, and maybe I'm giving too much credit here, but it could just be that they're trying to focus on like one thing at a time and trying to restructure and rebuild since the Vince era. You know, you look at what they're doing with the mid-card division. You look at what they did with Sammy and now Braun, and how even though they didn't put the title on him, they built up Bronson Reed, they built up Chad Gable. You look at what they've finally pulled the trigger on LA Knight. You look at what they're doing with the women's title. You've got Nia Jax finally as women's champion, deserving as women's champion.
Yeah.
Showing the world that she's not what she was labeled as back in the day. And even if she was that, she's improved and everyone deserves a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Tiffany Stratton just lying in the weeds with that briefcase, teasing on multiple episodes of SmackDown that she's going to cash it in on her friend
Yeah.
On the other side of things, you've got this Rhea and Liv rivalry. For whatever it's worth, I'm not Liv's biggest fan. There's people out there that love her.
For
That's their
$1.50.
prerogative. Rhea definitely carried that division while she was champion. I think they're trying to get that stuff back and taken care of, and then the tag team division will come.
Tag team
I
division.
personally feel, and I mentioned this in the comments today during the watch along, that the women's tag division, I feel, has started to matter since Piper and Chelsea were champions. They may not be giving the women the most dominant reigns anymore, but we don't need 365-day championship runs for every fucking run.
Yeah, right.
What Chelsea and Piper did with the titles and then losing them to KC squared, which was only a means to transfer them to the Kabuki Warriors because we didn't want a heel versus heel match where we passed the titles.
Hey, at least there were 2 tag teams, legitimately.
Then moving them from the Kabuki Warriors to Bianca and Jade, Alba and Isla back to Bianca and Jade. Like, I feel like they're slowly but steadily starting to get the women's division back under wraps as far as the tag division goes. I'd like to see more dabbling over in NXT from the women's champs since those belts got unified with the main roster.
Yep.
But that's just my only nitpick there. The men's tag division, I definitely feel it's coming. But that's like the last thing they really have to work on, I think. I think they've started to swing the pendulum for all the other divisions in the proper direction. And people have been clamoring for a women's mid-card title. Now we're going to get the women's speed title.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a title. Wow, congratulations. You're getting the prize.
I don't know if I would. I would know. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if that's necessarily an upgrade.
Give me a break.
I can't even think who's gonna be the inaugural speed champ.
I think the concept is a dead thing. I think Elon just wanted to deal with WWE, so he's like, "Hey, we'll give you. You can do titles, and you can do it under our name, and we'll give you a lot of monies."
It's not like you give out a Tesla, and again, you can't reinvent the wheel into a hexagon, pentagon, triangle, and expect it to work any better. Women's tag division, as far as I'm concerned, is just the juggle game, and as far as the singles side, yeah, maybe more on SmackDown, but you got Rhea Liv. You know what the fuck they're doing with the rest when they only got one women's match on a 3-hour show? I'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they do have that coming up. But again, it's like, okay, we're going to have a women's mid-card title. I assume it's not just going to be the speed. I think speed is like exclusive to X or whatever.
It really is exclusive to X. Not even the speed championship on SmackDown.
So I'm fine with that, whatever. But they're going to be coming up with a women's mid-card title again for the actual main roster. The issue is that's going to be another division, and then that's going to be more people you're going to have to rotate if you keep the pay-per-views, the PLEs at 5 matches only. That's going to be a problem. Like that, I think 7 should be your hard cutoff. I still maintain that. I think you got too much talent to not at least utilize every division and rotate it. If you do 7, then you can properly rotate every week, every PLE, but you can't with 5. Like you're cutting yourself off at the knees unnecessarily, I feel like.
I mean, NXT has 6 tomorrow, so outside Peacock marketing bullshit, I really want to see if I actually buy an NXT more than I do main roster WWE, because I do believe in Joe Hendry, and I also believe that NXT is going to be the better show for me as a wrestling fan. But we'll see how much Peacock advertising bullshit wrecks my mood.
Yeah.
Speaking of the PLEs and pay-per-views, I did want to also discuss All In and Emergence.
Yes.
Phenomenal shows as well. Yes.
No.
Oh, God, I'm tired, man. All right, this is all set for church tomorrow. I'm doing my thing here, but I'm still awake. Continue the discussion.
No worries, no worries. Noah, I'll go to you first then. All In and Emergence. Kind of the same thing that I wanted here as far as Bash in Berlin went, Overall thoughts quickly. You don't have to go match per match. Just
I did that on impromptu with King on Wednesday when it came to going all out on All In. Phenomenal fucking pay-per-view, incredible stories, incredible one-of-a-kind moments, some shocking surprises, quality fun time for me as a professional wrestling fan. Things really picked up after the Women's Championship and the Casino Gauntlet and MJF and Will Ospreay, and of course, what Swerve and Bryan Danielson brought out in that emotional story, where that moment for me felt bigger than WrestleMania for the person, the father, the wrestler, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and even he said that himself, so I know I'm not crazy, but I'm also crazy because I'm a professional wrestling fan. Why I'm TNA faithful and always will take that over WWE any day of the week. Proved me again at Emergence. Simple, hard, great flow, run through. Best production I see for pay-per-view every fucking time. And TNA Emergence with an instant classic hour-long Iron Man match to encapsulate a great show with an impromptu tag title match. Tag titles are actually on the line here that I thought, despite me calling him Flap Dollar, was actually pretty damn decent with him and Casey Navarro. Fucking enjoy both. It's been a phenomenal week overall for all things wrestling for me as I've been watching wrestling throughout the week. But definitely Emergence and All In are the top two I've seen this week. Emergence at the top.
Yeah. I have not seen Emergence. I love All In, though. I thought that show was excellent.
See Emergence, man.
I think both were phenomenal. I don't think Toni Storm and Mariah May are getting the credit they deserve. That was one hell of a woman.
Best women's storyline and championship match I've seen this year on the Western side.
Yeah, exactly. Best story. They did a phenomenal job. The fact that they incorporated the shoe again and that one piece of thing meant that one piece of materialistic thing meant so much, and it got in Tony's head, and then that became her unraveling. So that to me,
what she loved.
Yeah, that was one of the best matches of the night. MJF with this whole Lex Luger FU thing with all the USA flags and the streams falling the whole night. Good. That was so good, man.
Oh my god.
And then, of course, the main event, the emotion. And I did so horrible on the picks to AEW, but the pay-per-view was so damn good that I couldn't care less. Like, I don't give a damn that I was wrong on so many matches because they delivered. And then
just enjoy live and enjoy wrestling.
Holy shit, Emergence delivered. I think out of the three,
say it.
Emergence is the top. I
That's
think it goes
the answer.
Emergence, All In, and then Bash. Like, I gotta put it in that. And I'm a WWE guy, but I gotta put it in that order. The story alone in the Iron Man match that they told was better than any. You want to talk about a roller coaster? Holy shit! I was up, down, up, down. I was like, what the hell? At a point that we got stuck in one of the loops upside down for a few minutes. Like, it was to that point of a roller coaster ride. Like, holy shit, the story that they told. Just everything. And
what they left with, cliffhanger galore. Good Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like
I still can't figure out what the hell JBL has to do with anything, but I guess we got to tune in Thursday to see.
Oh, I can easily tell you that. Do you not know he's the apparently shoot and kayfabe? Yeah. By the way, that's not just kayfabe. Apparently, that's shoot. Who the hell would have thought the fucking guy who did a segment where he was chasing Mexicans away from the border as U.S. champion is now owning a Mexican promotion? By the way,
you had to bring that up.
I'm just saying, man, I think that's freaking hilarious. Which does tell me that him and Eddie were really good friends, and it must have been a favor from Conan.
Eddie wanted him to treat his mom that way, and JBL was actually against it. It was Eddie and his mom that had to convince JBL.
Yeah. A lot of people give JBL a lot of crap for the racist stuff that he did, right? when a lot of that was like Eddie and Ray's idea. Like, you want heat? Do this. Do this.
Exactly.
Do this, homie. Do this.
Yeah, but I definitely got to say, Emergence is the pay-per-view of well, that was more than a week ago, but the last 2 weeks, Emergence was the pay-per-view. So because All In wasn't this week, it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Technically, All In was Sunday.
That's right. We haven't been through a week.
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, so
it's still of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is crazy, by the way, is by the way, that's not even the only time JBL appeared. So he appeared in AAA as the investor. He's now in TNA. He showed up at GCW. I don't know if anybody saw his
I did see that.
Walker, Texas Ranger looking ass outfit he was wearing.
That's what he was wearing last night. He came out with the trench coat and the hat.
Black hat.
Yep. I don't know, man. JBL's starting to get over with me. I think that's the best he's ever looked.
I mean, he hasn't spoken a single word yet, might I add.
I kind of like it.
Weird.
Is that weird that I'm starting to like Bradshaw? What the fuck?
Yes.
I always liked Bradshaw. I hated JBL. There's a difference.
Yeah, JBL,
I'll give you that.
By the way, for everybody that says, well, JBL was responsible for the Morrow thing, so I'll always hate him for that. That was all Vince's fucking directive. Don't fucking blame JBL for following orders, for Christ's sake.
All In was definitely a phenomenal show. Like, I'm so mad I wasn't able to watch it with you guys and everything.
Yeah.
Because I had to work, but as soon as I got home, I watched it back. I did my thing, and it was just a phenomenal show, dude. I can't stand the putrid fuck sons of bitches, but I popped hard when the Bucks came out in their Sgt. Pepper gear.
They were pretty good, yeah.
I figured you did. Not
he called them Arizona iced tea looking asses.
That broke James. Comment of the night. That broke James.
I was like, yep. Because I didn't get the reference.
I hate those shits, but they straight up came out like Sgt. Pepper. And they weren't just any characters. You look at the album cover, they were dressed as John and Paul.
Yep.
One was in the yellow, one was in the blue. George and Ringo had like this pinkish, red, orangish suits going for them. But as soon as I saw the drum on the Tron, I was like, no, these fuckers didn't.
Yes, they
and
did.
then they came out with it, and I was like, oh my God, these little shits. I called Cece in here.
Oh boy.
So she could see it. I sent a screenshot of it to Natalie.
You should have sent a screenshot and then flipped them off with the screenshot.
But I popped so big. Brian versus Swerve, watching him come out to Final Countdown again in that setting, winning the championship.
To Europe.
Bree in the ring.
Birdie.
Buddy and Birdie. Birdie sitting on his lap during the press scrum. Just the most adorable thing.
Even
Buddy's so excited over the confetti. That was like his favorite part of the whole thing.
And then I was legit in tears, y'all. The entire Mariah Tony match.
As most people were, including Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May's own mother, that Mariah slapped at ringside.
Yeah, like
that was so good.
Yeah.
And Timeless Tony Storm with her roses not thrown in the ring, getting her last standing ovation as her curtain call. And for all we know, she's still two-step Charles singing through freaking London with Luther the Butler in hot pursuit to make sure she doesn't get run over by a double-decker bus.
I am so thankful that they did not. I don't care who it is that rates it that low. I'm just glad they did not get a 1 star, because when I saw that fucking fake bullshit, I thought I lost my mind. I'm like, okay, guys, hey, what are we doing here? I was so glad I was wrong on that. I admit I'm wrong, but he still gave it 3 3/4, and I think that's exactly what fucking Walter meant by they're not getting the credit they fucking deserve, because
No.
Mariah and Tony fucking delivered a 5-star match to what was a 5-star story. I don't know how. At the very least, you don't give it a 4 is egregious to me. But of course, if you ask certain journalists, for 3 3/4 is basically a 4. No, it's not, you idiot. But okay.
If it's basically a 4, then give it a 4.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask that actually buys into that shit.
And then Emergence last night, like, I don't know what I popped for the most. The fucking Bucks in the Sgt. Pepper gear or the Joe Hendry Hardy's mashup.
I pop hard for that, not gonna lie.
Like, seriously, both of those things caught me off guard and were so fucking good
And funny.
that I really don't. I'm probably gonna lean more towards the Joe Hendry Hardy's just because fuck the Bucks, but I would be lying if I wasn't beside myself with them coming out. Like, when I saw the drum, I thought for a second they were actually going to have ponied up for the Beatles music. Like, legit.
That would have cost more than Final Countdown. Come on.
Considering what Tony ponies up for these big shows. Dude, he ponied up for Queen last year, okay? I couldn't see the Beatles being much more expensive than what he paid for Queen.
That was a lot of money, I'm sure.
I can only imagine with music itself.
I still think the best thing is what last year when Daniel Bryan had the Final Countdown, there was brawling for like 20 minutes with the song still blaring in the background. That was the funniest shit ever. Like,
that was actually this year at Double or Nothing, Anarchy in the Arena. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like,
cut that music. It cost us.
You might as well use it like that.
It cost us $200,000
every time you play it.
And of course, Sting also came back at All In. That was a major pop. By the way, loved that All In stage.
Yeah, that stage was fucking awesome.
Christian winning the contract.
That fucker.
I was so angry at that. I get it now, though. It was like I was angry about it in the moment, but afterwards, I'm like, no, it makes sense. That's
yeah, fine. It really does when you think about it, especially where we're heading, especially him being a father figure. Piss poor one at that.
That probably was a call by Brian too. If you're gonna make me champ, I gotta give Christian a shot. I want to wrestle. I think part of that was Bryan Danielson wanting to wrestle Christian.
But
well, I mean,
hold on. The contract is basically like a Money in the Bank. He doesn't get the shot at All Out. That's going to Jack Perry. He doesn't get the shot at Full. He gets the shot whenever he wants.
So he's gonna get that title.
Yeah. I think we're looking at the next WWE champ.
No, I think what's going to happen is that Adam Copeland is going to return and get the title, and Christian is going to cash in his match against his old best friend.
And cost him again after taking the TNT championship last year from him at the same night he beat him at World's End.
And how did Edge really start to make his main event, push? The ultimate opportunist, Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yep, 2006.
Christian cashing in a title shot on the man who was the first Money in the Bank holder. How poetic.
It would be. My only issue is I really kind of want to see the match between Christian and Brian just to show, hey, fuckers, you said we couldn't ever wrestle again. Well, here we are in the main event of a pay-per-view wrestling for the world title. You know what I mean?
We are coming up on his home state while he's from Aberdeen. We are heading to Tacoma, Washington. And last year at Wrestle Dream, Christian Cage did main event and successfully retained the TNT championship.
I kind of like JJ's idea because maybe to the point where Christian does that, Edge will have to respect them, and you can get the reunion of them and give them their last little tag one before they go.
Yeah, maybe.
You can respect the fact that, damn it, you did exactly what I would have done. I would have did the same shit to you. Like, you know what I mean?
A little bit of I can do this versus you. I'm not the same person as you. I'm better than you. I do like that.
What up, King?
King.
Hey, what's he doing here? This silly knob.
Well, So
And then Emergence again was just phenomenal. I'm so looking forward to No Mercy tomorrow. I'm right there with Walter, with Zachary Wentz winning the X Division title in Ultimate X. Does the match against Wesley become an X Division title match tomorrow? Or does it become a thing where they leave the title on the line, but if Wesley wins, does he get a shot at Victory Road?
Oh, no.
Like, personally, that's how I would do it. I would leave the title off the line since it's not an NXT championship.
Yes.
But if he pins Zachary Wentz, you got to figure that throws him into contention for the X Division title.
Yeah. Possibly
Yeah.
challenge you for it at Victory Road.
I like
So
it.
that has automatically become like my most anticipated match for tomorrow now. That and of course my university defending their tag team titles.
And these show the TNA show sounded like it's slapped. I wish I actually watched it. I just have no time anymore because of my fucking work.
I mean, besides the fact that I watched Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix finale and Capital Collision and Rampage, I mean, I can understand what you're saying, James.
Yeah, I mean,
No
well,
wonder
you're
so
also
tired.
yeah. I was about to say you're also not human. I was like, I want sleep and I want to watch other things. I have like a lot of other entertainment options, and you like wrestling as your entertainment option solely. To be fair to you,
I agree.
so there is that too. I do want to bring up, since we talked about All In and Emergence, one thing I wanted to bring up. I think somebody brought it up, the FTW thing.
Okay.
So here's my thing. Okay. And I came up with this on the fly, right? If you want the FTW-esque lineage to stand and you want that title there, you have to have some sort of balance. And I know that would leave, well, there's already too many titles, get rid of it anyway. Tony's not going to do that. So here's my compromise, Tony. Take it or leave it.
Oh, good Lord.
Get rid of the FTW title. However, give Hook a prize that is in the same vein as the FTW title. Like, I don't know, AEW hardcore title or something of that nature. And then at least it's a recognized belt, right? And then you could actually do something with it that isn't just pigeonholed to the Taz family. Because I feel like the way I would book the FTW division, per se, I would do everything you can to get some of those MMA guys in there. Because there was an opportunity, like, if I would have loved to see Jorge Masvidal have a title run with that. Like, for example, like, really treat it like a combination of the hardcore title, but a never open weight title, like Minoru Suzuki type shit.
Right.
That's how I would book the FTW division. If you're going to keep it, at least replace the title, because I feel like they feel they have to keep it under Taz's lineage, and
Taz created it, so
it's kind of a problem. So I would just get rid of the FTW title, but give Hook a consolation that resembles that. That way, when he drops it again, he doesn't have to go and chase it again. You know what I mean?
They'll just give Hook a year supply of chips.
I mean, yeah. What the hell? Hey, wait a minute. Wait, JJ. Look at the go to the chip thing. You have like some green screen shit going on there. You got like the books and shit.
This episode of the Saturday Night Shenanigans, brought to you by Frito-Lay. Eat your favorite.
Bro, you got your
It's sour cream and onion, so it is a green bag. That might be why.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's fucking. It got green screen and it showed your bookcase, bro. That's funny.
I've never cared for that flavor. I'm always going to be an OG, original classics all the way.
Anyway,
OG with hummus is good.
Yeah. For me, Frito, there's the jalapeno dip with chips, like regular chips. That shit rules.
I'll take your word for it. But I was also speaking about this with some friends regarding the whole title thing with AEW. You look at the world, you look at the international, you look at the continental, you almost look at the continental international, and you figure about they're two titles of their own form, but technically they're open challenge titles as well with longer time limits versus the TV championship that's been more of a personalized prop for anybody that held it. If you were to restructure the titles, you have TNT, you have international, you have continental. Remove one. Which one would it be?
International, because I feel like that and continental are kind of the same difference.
Okay, so no, but we had discussed this that
At
apparently
least
it
within
isn't.
the name.
Well, apparently it's not, according to the last conversation we had, JJ. You said that continental and international are two different things.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, he said intercontinental and continental are two different things.
Right. So technically that means the same thing.
Intercontinental, international,
and continental are two different things.
National is defended worldwide. Continental is all the continents, which is pretty much worldwide.
Except Antarctica.
International and intercontinental
Yeah.
are the same thing.
Right.
Just like international and continental are the same thing.
Except Continental has a slightly different version of rules. I believe it's a 20 count on the outside, and there are no seconds at ringside.
That and the term continental.
So I say keep that one.
Yeah. I was gonna say keep that one.
Yeah.
The international title, okay. I'm fine with keeping it, but you would have to. I don't know. I couldn't think of one to get rid of. That's a problem because I could see an argument for every single one of them.
Yeah.
The problem is you need to build up the divisions, which I think they have started doing. God hoping that Nigel's actually back for a full-time run because, oh my God, Nigel and Okada, please.
Man, did you
give me for that title. And then fucking what else? Then Ospreay, we know he's fighting Ricochet. So they kind of have decent little combinations there, at least for divisions. So at least there's that.
Of course, the Continental Championship stands out because it's also the flagship prize you seek competing in their Continental Classic, which literally that title itself is connected now to a pay-per-view and a tournament held at the end of each year now.
Yeah, so I'm fine with that. I'm fine personally with the international still being a thing. However, this is how I would differentiate it, and I think they're starting to now. The international is literally in the name. Different nationalities get to challenge for the championship. Defend it internationally, which includes defended at CMLL, like MJF did, defended at Rev Pro, which MJF did, defended at I think it was another show. I think they defended it at Dragon Gate, which Pac did back when it was all Atlantic.
Correct.
So do that. So do that for that title. That differentiates that. So long as the FTW is rebranded as an AEW recognized belt and it keeps under the same rule set, that differentiates that belt. So long as there's a different rules or different motivations for each title, I don't care how many titles there are. I never have. Like, we all know this.
Yeah.
It's how you differentiate each championship. Because each championship that you get should each be a level to the world title. That's exactly how each title should be treated. You could also do the reverse method of the person who won a world title adds prestige to the other titles like MJF did with the international. If they do that, I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest. That's my thing. That's my thing. I would get rid of neither as the fucking short version of my long-winded answer.
I was saying, in one sentence, the answer, no.
No. Yes. Thank you.
mean, I would say at least as far as the international and continental title go, And I'm even going to throw the world title in there just because you make each one the flagship belt for one of the shows.
Yep.
Dynamite be about the world title, have Rampage be about the international title, and Collision be about the continental title. The TNT is defended on every show that is a TNT broadcast. TBS title defended on every show that's a TBS broadcast.
Yep.
FTW belt can kind of be the whatever. You know, you need a title match, thrown in there. Do an FTW match. Let that be the pre-show title, the kickoff title. Let that be the Battle of the Belts that never change hands show.
And coming up soon, Battle of the Belts 12, officially announced by AEW.
Yeah, they need to actually make that shit mean something. But that's
I completely agree. Seriously, continue.
I agree with what you said. The only issue I have with that is you actually have to make Rampage and Collision matter, and you actually have to split the rosters if you're going to do that, at least in a soft version of it like they did before. That's my only issue. The other issue also comes in, you'd probably have to make Rampage 2 hours, which they don't need another hour because they're already struggling with fucking 7 hours.
Yeah, technically
5 hours.
Sub play if AEW ROH becomes a thing, because you got to count ROH also part of this because how much crossover that talent is. You got always usually between 45 minutes to an hour and a half of even additional content through there.
Yeah, but Ring of Honor, you could easily just separate the titles as well. This is a Ring of Honor show. Here are the Ring of Honor titles. Like that's nothing.
Yeah, but you know what they do at Battle of the Belts. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, no, I'm fine with that being on Battle of the Belts, though. I think the way you make Collision matter a lot more is not just have Battle of the Belts go on after Collision. I'd make Collision a 3-hour broadcast and be Battle of the Belts. Collision, Battle of the Belts. I always found it weird that we have a show called Collision and they don't have the rosters really collide, or at least it's not expressed as our AEW and ROH collide. Like the way I would separate shit is AEW Dynamite, ROH Rampage, and AEW and ROH Collision. That's how I do it because they're colliding.
I mean, the biggest difference with Collision and Dynamite, as I always say, you have a kick-ass long-term opener and a wildly intense competitive main event.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff in between.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's been like that. Everybody wants to say that Collision always was great even during the Punk era. Dude, Collision has not changed format since its fucking debuted. I'm just going to say that.
It's literally the same thing. I mean, I'm not going to say the same thing. Same format. Different wrestling, different wrestlers.
It was always a boring show with the exception of the opener and the main event for the most part.
That is
every fucking week.
Although I will be playing devil's advocate and say sometimes in the middle they've had good matches. You've had Kyle Castanoli and Leo Rush. You had Ishii and Kyle Fletcher. You've had competitive women's bouts that weren't in that same time slot. And that fatal four-way was quite interesting tonight.
I think, okay. So I agree with everything you're saying, but they don't have story at all. Walter, go ahead because you were about to say something involved in this. I think.
No, I was just gonna say, believe it or not, we're talking about AEW eliminating titles, and I think NXT needs to add another women's title because there's too much talent down there. Women need another title to strive for. If you're gonna make a mid-card title for the women's, do it in NXT because that's the women division that's being booked.
They already have one, don't they? With the NXT North American.
What the fuck you talking about?
They just created the North American title.
The only thing they need to add is the women's championships because NXT actually has women's tag team divisions and trios that actually matter versus the rest of fucking WWE.
Yeah, and in AEW, you don't even have that problem either because AEW and ROH have 4 women's titles each. They have the ROH women's, ROH women's television, and then
keep ROH separate because I agree.
All
you're doing is making AEW talent that show up on Dynamite and be on ROH too. If you're gonna make ROH its own separate thing, then that's different.
Yeah,
no, I agree. I agree with you.
That's one of the biggest gripes I was talking about with James. I mean, and the fact that Tony Khan's thinking about rebranding RLH into AEW RLH, you might even have more crossover.
I think all they need to do is, if they're going to do what JJ recommends and they just have every brand intermingle, they have to make sure that Collision has story progression and Rampage has story progression.
Yep.
Which, and this is the big thing, if they're going to do that, Tony Khan cannot be writing every fucking show.
No.
You have to put Shane McMahon somewhere in that fucking writing team somewhere. or other people in that writing team.
Well, I mean,
you wait till Bryan Danielson retires and you put him in control of ROH and make that
exactly. Exactly.
Well,
I mean, James talking about Nigel McGuinness. We don't know whether or not he's coming back. That's completely up in the air. I believe in Joe Hendry. But it's one of those things where, to kind of maybe close out this segment, which, boy, Saturday Shenanigans really has turned into a panel takeover. It's one of those things where I do think you need to have more creative heads versus one that ultimately says, let's do this. If Tony Khan's getting 250 different ideas from 14 different people, and he's the one guy that makes everything official for every show, that's a very big unbalance. And he needs to correct that, especially when we approach the 5-year anniversary, where I think there's more potential than ever in what AEW can do, especially with these international, expansions. I mean, they're going to Grand Slam in Australia. We're going all in Texas. I'm very curious to see what else they do. And we got Wrestle Dynasty kicking off their year in January at
Tokyo.
I think AEW is evolving in certain ways for the better, but they're still stuck in some ways that need to change.
Yep. No doubt.
What's funny is we're talking about that they have too many belts, but then you ask us what belts should we get rid of, and we're like,
the problem is JJ actually has a point. They have enough belts that actually can spread out between the 3 shows. He's not wrong there.
Yeah, JJ,
they just need to make the other 2 fucking shows matter. And they haven't.
And then the same thing with the tag. You put the trios on Collision and the regular tag on Dynamite.
Yes.
Maybe use Rampage for contenders matches.
Yeah, I think they were actually doing that for a while too. I think that's exactly how they
got
that set up.
I always feel like Rampage should have been like the contendership type show, considering it's just an hour, or you, like JJ says, a focus on the women, which again, there may be a bit more focus nowadays, but there still is not enough of it. But with Jamie Hayter back feuding with Saraya, with the Glamour Mariah May, no idea where that's going. But Mina Shirakawa here apparently moving to the States. I think I got my first program, and I might lose myself, quite literally.
Who knows? Tony's such a copycat and a fanboy of WWE. They got Speed on X. Maybe he'll create some show on Facebook, and that's what starts.
There's one thing we could say about Madman Tony Khan, the Twitter twat that he is. At least we don't got to worry about women going only for 3 minutes for nothing of importance.
That's true.
Hey, it's very rare that a woman goes 3 minutes.
What? Wait. What?
Before I take a sip of water.
Bro, you say that right after I saw Walter retweeted on Twitter Lola Vice showing her ass. I'm just saying.
You pathetic, weak-minded simpletons.
You think that's bad, James? Look at his plug graphic.
Oh my God!
I'm surrounded by children.
Yo, that's genius, Walter. God damn. Hey, how do I get people to tune into my shit? Hey, have a little ass on it. That will get people to come over.
Yeah, I probably got new subscribers as of now.
How you doing? How you doing, Noah?
I think I'm ready to go to bed.
No, we still got so much more to talk about. We actually got a super chat, by the way. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, thank you, Emmanuel, for his $5 super chat. Should they ban the Tiger Driver? Every time I see it, I fear the one taking the bump will get paralyzed. That's a fair question. I mean, we do know that for a while pile drivers in general were banned. Only exception really being Undertaker's tombstone, and even he switched it up to the last ride more so during that era.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting point. The Tiger Driver is always it's definitely a move that can hurt people. As we saw kayfabe with Brian, you know.
And more legitimately, JJ, last year with Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door.
Did he enter Kenny Omega with that at Forbidden Door?
I don't think he necessarily did, but you and I called that.
It was
Remember, you were
long-term.
scared for your life. And backstage, after Kenny Omega lost that title, we did see him with an ice bag on his neck.
Actually, I wouldn't ban it. I wouldn't ban it per se, because if we're talking about a ballpark range and he's only injured one, I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
I mean, AJ Styles once
Don't-
really decapitated him, man. He still does the Styles Clash.
I would definitely not use it as much.
Save it for a big match.
Yeah, like the Danielson match made sense, especially because it made sense even more so for the story they told for the MJF match.
Yes.
Second one.
And then
That's
the first,
where it
and let's
makes
not
sense.
forget, Konosuke Takeshita, also a victim at his debut at Revolution after he signed on the dotted line. He's only used that move literally at big shows, except Forbidden Door, because he was unsure about himself because of what happened to Bryan Danielson.
Right.
That's what I would do. You guys are right. Save it for big events.
And
I
Renaissance.
wouldn't ban it because technically any move can get you hurt. I mean, the Styles Clash hurt people. The 450 splashes, like frog splashes, hurt people. You know.
I mean, literally a 450 splash, you hit a knee to someone's nose, you break their face. Saya Kamatani did that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
to,
didn't Shane Helms used to do like a vertebrae breaker that really was like a similar to
what is so what is so crazy about that is what was it? Didn't fucking Swerve bust that out, the cop killer, the vertebrae?
He did. He literally did at Wembley at All In, which made you scared to death.
Dude, that was such a great sell, though, because you could tell he landed safe when you actually looked.
Oh yeah, he literally slid down pretty much.
That was such a great, man, I love that.
Brian's one of the best sellers.
Look at the Death Valley driver. You slipped that the wrong way, it's over.
I think any goddamn move, if we're gonna go by that logic, any goddamn move should be banned, and then we have no wrestling.
Clothesline. Don't use a clothesline. You literally could break a person's face. Hit them
you can concuss them. You can concuss them bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it comes down to the point. I think the reason why people were so upset when they banned the pile driver, it's like, okay, one guy got injured, so we're gonna fucking ban the entire fucking move from being used for years. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what's next to be banned? And then they would ban blood, and people had a lot of problem with that. And then people banned, I think they banned another move that I can't remember for a while. I think they banned every variation of the Burning Hammer for a while. They don't do that. Like, every move should be banned. It's like, okay, then we're not going to have wrestling.
They banned the Shooting Star press for a while because of what Paul London did.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. And it was like, he was the best person to do the Shooting Star, and not I don't know, Billy fucking Kidman, who always injured everybody doing it.
They might ban the super kick for all we know.
Yeah,
I actually wish they would. Damn it, I'm tired of seeing it.
Well, I mean, but then again, it's just like every move is going to be a transition move at some point or another. It's like,
but I mean, you ban the super kick. I mean, how far do you ban that out? Do you ban drop kick?
I think that I think the super kick is fine because you can literally hit that IRL. Like, you can actually knock somebody out in IRL. I'm fine with the super kick being in everybody's arsenal. That I don't have much of an issue with. Same with the DDT at this point. It's been around long enough that you can use it as a transition move. The Canadian Destroyer is a whole goddamn other fucking thing.
Well, people are even starting to do that to the Tombstone, though. Like, don't do that.
All right, let JJ speak.
I think the main thing when it comes to the super kick, James, is that doing it multiple times in a match. Not that multiple people do it or that you even see it in every match, but when we see the Young Bucks or the Usos or whoever doing 10, 12, 15 super kicks a match, it's like, come on.
Yeah, then it loses luster.
Yeah, look at last night with Nick and Josh Alexander. They were just going back and forth with super kicks for a little bit.
I mean, to be fair, though, that was just, like you said, a transitional moment. And underneath the circumstances of the story told and the match type, there's those situations when you go after one another that, yeah, you might literally go tit for tat, move for move, kick for kick, boot for boot. And at one point, they literally used, JJ, each other's finishers to try and get ahead.
I know.
In fact, it was literally, spoiler alert, folks, Nick Nemeth finished out the match in less than 30 seconds using Josh Alexander's own C4 spike for the definitive win.
So,
Speaking of less than 30 seconds, JJ, show that graph again.
Oh, Jesus
God
Christ almighty. I was going to say.
Do it again, I'm leaving.
No, don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave, Noah. No.
I was already in the process of doing it before you said it, Noah. Give me a break.
Fine.
So anyway, what was I going to say? I
won't show it again until the actual shills portion. How about that?
There you go.
Fine.
So, to Emmanuel's question, I think you should definitely know how to regulate move usage. I don't think the move should be necessarily
agreed.
banned.
Agreed.
Fair enough with the super kick thing. The Canadian Destroyer is a whole other argument.
Mexican Destroyer at this point, depending on if you look at Lucha Libre, because I'm pretty sure they use it more down there verbatim than they do in America.
They need to stop bastardizing that as a fucking transition spot.
The cutter too. Everybody and their mother has a cutter in their arsenal now.
Well, you can use a cutter and have variations of a cutter. A Canadian Destroyer, there's no other way to have a variation other than how you do it. It's literally.
Well, I mean, James, remember what we called Double or Nothing last year? All four of those men did a Canadian Destroyer in a different fashion. One used two others as stepping stones. One just did a straight run through. One just did a straight one out the corner. And then one just literally cut somebody, springboard out of nowhere.
It's all the same motion.
It is, but I'm just saying.
The move, though. It's the same thing. It's like one person and one person only. Maybe a few others, but like it damn sure should not be a transition spot because that should be as deadly as the burning fucking hammer in kayfabe.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a post on X, it's either yesterday or the day before, saying that it was 1 year to the day of that Orange Cassidy Penta El Zero Miedo, where Orange did the destroyer to him. He bounced up, did it back to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy popped back up, did it back to him. It was like, that was a little bit much.
Yeah.
That was when I knew the Destroyer was dead as a move.
Yeah.
And I like both of those guys.
Yeah.
So I'm not really trying to shit on either guy. In fact, I love Penta. I still want to get his mask.
I know.
But just that was when I knew that the Destroyer was dead.
And then last year, I remember you wincing, but not about the move, but just about the execution when we were doing Ring of Honor, which is a whole different animal in itself because it truly is professional wrestling. When Kyle Fletcher did that over-glorified, what was it, brainbuster off the top turnbuckle pad, and somehow Commander still fucking kicked out, and it took another freaking brainbuster or pile driver after that. It was some insane thing that Kyle Fletcher did. You thought that things were being bastardized there of how long those two were going. At the very end of Survivor of the Fittest.
Yeah.
And in general, they took this thing nowadays out of people kicking out of each other's finishers to the point where everybody's doing it now. And that used to be reserved for like your WrestleManias, your special moments where you hit the move and you would kick out. They're starting to overdo that too. But that's been
the bottom line. The bottom line, guys, no move is protected. It's just a matter of how far you put the virtual health bar down on your opponent. And based on which stage, it could be 10 minutes, disqualification, or over 30.
I think I think the biggest issue, and maybe I'm just alone in my thought process here. Let me know if I am.
Go for it.
I feel like too much of independent wrestling has bled onto mainstream television wrestling. I feel like that's the type of stuff that would be done at an indie show in front of 50 fans to try to get those fans to come back for the next show because holy shit, this guy is indestructible.
Yeah.
And then those type of guys get signed or get spotted and their moves taken. And now we're seeing that shit on AEW, WWE, to a lesser extent TNA, but it's still there. I think too much of the indie wrestling style has bled into mainstream wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to pinpoint or hate. Please don't misinterpret it that way, despite my feelings on certain individuals. But when you have indie darlings like the Bucks as EVPs of a pro wrestling company, it's very easy for that to be done because there's so much of a PWG influence in AEW, even going down to the fact that Rick Knox is one of the officials. Excalibur is the commentator. You know, I can see why something like that has happened.
Yeah.
But AEW isn't the only guilty party. Let me just make sure I say that.
Everyone does it. To your point, I mean, literally nothing's protected anymore. It's just a matter of how you get to that final 3 count. How much does it take for the referee to count to 3? People talking about it's hard for a ref to count to 10. I think it's even fucking harder for a referee to count to 3 more than ever.
Yeah. It's a rough one because you want the epicness, but you also want, I don't know, you want to protect moves. I think the super kick is fine. It makes sense. DDT is a transition move, even though it used to be a finisher. That's fine. Okay, I could see it. Moves that could have various variations, like the cutter, super kick, any kick, really. If we really want to get that technical with it.
Choke slam.
And choke slam too. Yeah, like even a fucking what was the other move?
Powerbomb?
The cutter. I think it was the cutter.
Yeah, you said cutter. You said
cutter. Super kick, DDT. Like there's variations of all those different moves.
Powerbomb.
Canadian Destroyer, there's not much variation.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that should be protected beyond belief, in my opinion. Other moves, I could absolutely fucking see that.
Yeah, I understand. It's the evolution of the business. I mean, for Pete's sake, Shawn Michaels back in the day used to beat you with a release backdrop suplex. So
yeah,
like,
no, I agree. But let's be honest about this too, Walter. Like, let's not make that a fucking excuse either. I agree with you, but I think certain moves, if you have various variations, great. Cool, make your finisher however you want. If it's a cutter, it's a cutter. If you want to make it a transition move as a signature, cool, make that the transition.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying it's because pro wrestling has been around so long. People have done so many things in the evolution that it's hard to just create anything original. Like it's been done. No matter how smart you are, it's been done.
And also with WWE trying to actually create wrestlers, superstars, from just collegiate athletes with some sort of amateur background about wrestling in some sport. Hello, NXT. Hello, people like Soruka. It's almost one of those things where a move, to James' point, you're trying to make it look different. Case in point, Soruka's Soul Snatcher. It's nothing more but a cutter with a revolution before the actual execution.
Which, by the way, I must say looks fucking sick.
One of the best protected moves.
Nice, but it's still a move that eventually someone's going to kick out of.
Yeah, Soruka does have a great, but the Razor's Edge is one of the most protected moves. You know, when Razor Ramon did it, nobody ever kicked out. Nobody ever kicked out of the Razor's Edge.
You know what I'd love to see somebody bring back is the fucking border toss. I thought that finisher was fucking sick. When Hernandez used to do it. Like I still remember when freaking people called Hernandez an unsafe worker when he dropped fucking when he dropped Doug Williams on his head, when in reality he actually over-rotated.
Which
That
again,
was his fault.
we talked about before, JJ. You only literally are a split second away from not botching, but injuring yourself or
absolutely.
your opponent. Anyway, back to the host.
We did get another super chat in from 26.2 miles outside parts unknown, one of our favorite names.
Ever.
Who has the best sling blade, Rollins, Finn, or Penta? Personally, I'm going to go with Finn because he's the first person I ever saw do it.
Prince Devitt.
So there's going to be a little bit of a bias there.
Incorrect, actually, because you forget this. JTG was actually the very first.
He said the first he saw, though, not the first to do
Yep.
it.
You saw as a fan. You saw as a fan.
That's the
Another
first person
OG.
he saw.
Wait, you weren't tuning into content? Did he not do the shout out version of the Sling Blade when you were watching still?
Not that I recall ever seeing. Finn was the first person I recall seeing. Maybe JTG wasn't doing it that often. You know, where Finn has made it like his signature.
Pretty much.
Did wrestling video games lie to me?
Wouldn't be the first time, dude. A video game can be modded.
Yeah, but no, but this is like base game. He always had the shout out, which was the Sling Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and watch some old Crime Time matches, but I do not remember seeing it. Again, maybe he did, and the fact that Crime Time was a thing like over a decade ago
Yeah.
is just why I don't remember it.
Yeah, probably. Just the 10-year age.
And by the
memory
way,
I was going to say, let's not forget, I'm 2 years away from 50, James. The mind has gone a little bit.
Right.
I mean,
Rely
here
on
you
me.
are.
Yeah.
I smoke too much in my life.
and yet here you are, JJ, and here we virtually stand talking professional wrestling in 2024. Insert age here. How long we've been focusing on this business?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with JJ though. I think Finn does it the best.
For me though, because I'm a crazy man, crazier than anybody on this panel and probably in the Super Reliable Network. As I watch All Things Wrestling, shout out to W Fam, if King, if you're still there. Yeah, I think I gotta give it to Finn Balor because Prince Devitt back in New Japan Pro Wrestling used to do it there as well. Remember, OG member of Bullet Club. And
He
for
used
me,
to kill people with that move.
Exactly. Well, then again, New Japan Pro Wrestling, you don't play around. It's not where kids play. It's where men fight. That was little legit shit. Son, it still somewhat is, unless you're looking at House of Torture. Fuck that. But that being said, yeah, I mean, the Sling Blade, to me, when I think about that move, whether Britt Baker, not Baker DMD, whether the Seth freaking Rollins, Tyler Black, whether the Penta Silmiero, of course, does it.
Yeah, he does it too.
Yeah, he does. And whether, like you point out, JTG, nice callback there. I was going to bring that up, but you intercepted. Kudos. For me, I think of Sling Blade. I look at wrestling and I think about key moves and I associate them and keep them associated with one person based on my fandom and how I look at status quo. Sling Blade status quo to me will always be Prince Devitt, Finn Balor.
Yep, I
I
agree.
was going to say, Penta does a pretty sick one considering he's taller and a little bit heavier than both of the other two.
Yeah, the thing is, he gets more of a revolution with his Sling Blade, and because of his body mass, to your point, he brings his opponent down with him versus Finn Balor, who more so lets go of his opponent, and the opponent just falls through gravity.
It just occurred to me we are hugely disrespecting Hiroshi Tanahashi by saying that because he actually innovated the move.
Exactly.
I'm not that familiar with Tanahashi, though, so you got to forgive me.
No, I can forgive you, but that's more for him and I.
Well, I mean, it's not disrespectful because as far as we know, there was somebody before Tanahashi, but to your point, Bill Ace, one of the greatest of all time, quite literally, President Ace, respect, Tanahashi, 8-time IWGP champion. There probably was somebody even before him that did the move, but to your point, Tanahashi was literally doing it before Prince Devitt was part of Bullet Club. But as far as I know, Prince Devitt was literally doing it before he's part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's not, eye around here, James. We know Prince Devitt was involved in this business clearly before he became literally one of the founding pioneers of Bullet Club.
It just occurred to me where you mentioned that it's like somebody from the fucking Gold Dust Trio from like the 1920s probably did a Sling Blade and nobody has it on fucking film or some shit.
That's what I'm saying.
To be fair, I don't think TVs were in the public eye that deep before 1950, and even then it was black and white.
What I'm tripping off of is the fact that we're almost 2 hours into the show and we've still only discussed one topic.
Oh no! Did
That's
you have
because
others?
Jay's been on that tangent.
Because we've gone on side tangents and we've done super chats.
Sorry.
Now, granted, I don't think the other two topics are going to be too long-winded.
Oh, fair.
Well, why don't we
In
go
fact-
ahead and give you back
fact-
control?
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll go ahead and go to the one that I was going to do last because I felt like the other topic kind of segued perfectly from the pay-per-view, but I feel like we've gotten enough away from that.
Yeah.
I'll go to the other topic here because I think this will be probably the shortest on it, praying that James will keep his tangents to a minimum here. But
Sorry.
Netflix announced a Mr. McMahon documentary this week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely not going to go on a side tangent on this. Have fun, boy. I'm you know what?
I'm
Yeah.
just a simple man, and I watch wrestling. But if I'm gonna watch documentary, I mean, oh Jesus!
Yeah, so they done did the thing. James even turned his camera off.
That boy gone.
Yep. Fuck this guy. Oh, by the way, no Janelle Grant. No Janelle Grant has been interviewed. Nobody from her side has been interviewed. So you know.
Have you seen
Well,
the parody
To
Tony
be fair,
Khan one?
James, to be fair, while the allegations and potential trial are ongoing, I don't think they can speak.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah. So what I find the most interesting about this, and the reason why I really wanted to bring this up,
All right.
not because of the cheap plug that, yes, once all 6 parts air and I watch them, I'm going to review it, but the fact that they're doing this close to the premiere of Raw on Netflix. Granted, he is no longer in the company, but Mr. McMahon, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, is synonymous with WWE. Is this a smart move for them doing this documentary less than 3 months before they premiere the flagship show on their channel? One side of the coin is, well, it's Mr. McMahon. It's not called Vince McMahon. It's called Mr. McMahon, which was the wrestling character. It's going to drum up a little bit of water cooler chatter and make people talk about the fact that Raw is coming to the channel, the streaming service. The flip side of that coin is all the despicable shit that surrounds him. Why are you going to be putting their show on your streaming service? That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm gonna reserve judgment until the documentary series airs. So for right now, I'm gonna say I could care less what they get into in the 6 1-hour episodes that are supposed to air. Is this best for Triple H's era of WWE that is coming to Netflix in January to have this documentary airing so close to that?
No.
And looking at the release date, I want to say that's a week before NXT premieres on the CW as well.
You would be correct.
Hell no.
James, if you're going to speak, come back on camera, please.
Hell to the no is my answer. Next, Your Honor.
Walter, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Is it a smart? There's an old saying, and Vince McMahon used to say it all the time: "No publicity is bad publicity." It'll get people talking about wrestling. It may draw some eyes as to why they did the product. Why is the product on Netflix? And then maybe they'll tune in to Raw too. But I don't know. It's iffy. It's a little bit questionable. It might hurt you, but I'm like you. I'm reserving judgment until they actually all the 6 episodes are there. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I tagged you on Facebook as soon as I heard about this, and I was like, I smell a review coming.
Yep. And as you saw, there's the logo right there. It will be reviewed. It will be exclusive to the members only section.
There you go.
So if you want to see my review, you're going to have to subscribe to the members only section.
But yeah,
I will release it on the main site eventually, but they get it first.
yeah. But no matter how we feel about him, he's still an integral part of what we love and what we watch, and he's a polarizing figure. You got to do stuff like that. Like, no matter how bad or negative somebody in history, we alluded to it earlier, Noah, when we told G, well, let's not make it negative and so, but there's evil people that have been in the world that are historic figures, and people release documentaries on it.
Yeah, true.
And eyes are glued. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer, serial killer. What was the most popular? I don't know when that was released, maybe a year or two ago. What was the most popular thing on Netflix when that came out? It was that. That was like number one everywhere. People are attracted to chaos. People are attracted to negativity. So
That's fair,
regardless of
but
what we feel, it's smart on Netflix because it's gonna draw eyes no matter what.
okay, that's fair, but let me counter debate you here. Wouldn't it be smarter to wait until everything is said and done and the dust is settled?
Yep.
That way you've got the official resolution. What if Vince McMahon goes to trial and, much like the steroid scandal, is found not guilty? Whether you've found him guilty in the court of public opinion, irrelevant. The legal system finds him not guilty. Then what do? Because you've basically potentially, because none of us have seen it yet, made a 6-hour smear campaign.
Right.
And then he's found not guilty. I would wait to release this until the trial, everything is said and done and the dust is settled and we have a definitive conclusion to the allegations that have been brought forth.
Yeah.
Then you make the documentary.
Which, by the way, would take about a year and a half if they did it that way, which is probably why they didn't want to wait. But,
yeah, but I would wait too. Jay just got a point, and because you need that result. Because if you slandered him, and then he's found innocent, now you got to do PR control.
And you've got the flagship show on your company for however long the deal is, 5 years, 10 years.
Or reverse psychology too. Who did a 5-hour glow campaign and then it turns out he's guilty of rape, which is kind of the
there's that.
There's that issue, like the Hyde situation when Ashton Kutcher tried to defend him, which would have been bad. I mean, that ended poorly for him. So
Noah, I know you're probably not going to watch this because you are a simple man who loves professional wrestling. But what is your take on this? Damn it! Come on, bruv.
No, keep going.
Don't give a fuck.
James, do you have anything that you would like to add while keeping it short and sweet?
I'm on his train. I got a first-class ticket.
Are you going to watch it?
Nope.
Datilla, be proud of your answer. Simple quote unquote. Nope.
I would think that this would make for a great Jay Hebert side of things, personally. But that's just me.
What do you mean? All I'm gonna do is shit on Vince. Regardless of what happens. It's not gonna go well. What do you mean?
But what if within the 6 hours you gain a different perspective? What if it isn't a smear campaign?
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I really hemmed and hawed about this, but when Walter showed that he was interested in a review from me, I thought, okay, maybe other people would love to see me discuss this as well. So I was like, okay, I'll tune into this. Otherwise, I probably would have skipped it.
All I'm gonna say,
As it is, I'm waiting for the rest of this season of Only Murders in the Building to drop on Hulu so I can get caught up on season 4. Damn it!
all right.
Okay.
Well, I'm just gonna say this real quick. No matter what you watch, and if people are attracted to chaos and drama, that's your prerogative. Protect your mentality.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, you gotta. I understand what you're saying because, well, we technically speaking, you and I have only known each other for like what, JJ? 3 years, technically.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, for you, it would be new. But for me, I've done been, and Jeff can tell you, I've done been shitting on this motherfucker for over 15 years since I've been doing YouTube. It's been the same. It's probably not going to change much. I don't like this guy. Fuck me. I did a whole Jay Hebert side literally talking about shit, literally relating to Vince, and I shit on him there. So I mean, come on, man. Like it wouldn't change much.
Okay.
Character, great. Human being, fuck him.
Like I said, I'm looking at it as a content producer standpoint, and for you, I could see you doing a show about it.
Yeah, but I
Not so much Walter, not so much Noah, although I'm sure either Eric or Keen are going to bring some of this to an impromptu.
And I will be away during that conversation.
But you, on the other hand, I could see doing something about it. So that's why I was curious.
I'd rather watch a 6-hour stream.
You don't have to.
Supporters playing Zelda.
I was going to say, you don't have to. I don't want it to seem like I'm forcing to.
Yeah.
Out of everybody here,
Maybe,
you're the other one that I saw doing something about it.
Yeah.
So I guess if I'll put it this way, if I got Ryan to join in on it with me, maybe. I'm just gonna tell you what the fuck is gonna happen. I'm giving you a preview already. I don't think much will change, but I guess we'll play it by ear. I still think the answer is hard no, and I'm still kind of gonna be on that first class ticket. If I bail out later, whatever, I'll get attacked by the train of you said you weren't going to, and whatever.
I've only watched like 2 wrestling documentaries in my life: Cody Rhodes and Bray Wyatt, I think, at the recent memory.
That's fair.
You never saw Beyond the Mat back in the day?
Nah, I never really got into that. And as far as DVD VHS goes, or watching that even before the network to that point, I may have watched like 24 specials based on like the biggest shows that matter to me, NXT. But besides that, I'm not a big documentary guy.
Okay. See, and for me, and here we go on a side tangent, the thing that I always loved most about buying the WWE DVDs and shit was the documentaries, the bios on them.
Literally in my backdrop here.
More often than not, I could give 2 fuck alls about the matches on there. Most of them I had already seen 100 times. But the documentary portion,
yeah,
that was the shit that always riveted me, because it's like some of these people I didn't know before they came to WWE.
I love the biggest
man, I was gonna say, so getting to see, where they're from, how they grew up, what inspired them to be a wrestler. The Punk one where they fucking went to Ring of Honor and they indirectly mentioned TNA because it was back in the days when they didn't mention other companies really. And he talked about how he wrestled in Tennessee on Wednesdays. Then he would go back to Ring of Honor and train on Thursdays, then hit the circuit. It's like, gee, where did TNA wrestle on Wednesdays when they were weekly pay-per-views?
That's it.
It's like, gee, wonder what he's talking about.
The original Dynamite.
Right?
That's probably accurate.
The Paul Heyman DVD, those are 2 of my favorites. The Rise and Fall of ECW.
Yeah. Paul Heyman. My name is Paul Heyman.
My name's Paul Heyman. I did see that. I remember the panel discussion with Corey Graves and the ECW legend about the rise and fall of ECW. Again, they were not meant to be there, but they were there, and everybody wanted to be there. That was the story of ECW.
Yep. But those are my favorite things to watch because you learn so much about people. I feel like the documentaries, you really get a different perspective on the in-ring performers, and a lot of times they've helped to change my opinion on people.
Yeah,
So-
well, there's
No.
certain people that I will put up there that's like, I want to see a documentary, and then 90% I'm like, nah.
That's fair.
So I guess there's a reason why I'm so hesitant on it, and you actually kind of triggered a thing that I said on a podcast that no longer exists.
Okay.
Back on the Indie Force, Casey and I were. It was brought up by Mike and Nikos. They said they wanted to review Dark Side of the Ring. I think this recent season that happened.
Jesus.
Mhm.
And Casey and I's immediate fucking thing was, I don't care. Casey was the first to say, I don't care. I'm sick of negativity in wrestling. And I was so on board with him. I was like, yep. It's me too, bud. Me too. I was like, that's probably why, because there's already so much shit
That's fair.
online. That's probably why, because I know the online discourse is going to be a shit show.
That's fair.
That's probably why I'm hesitant there.
No, I get it, and that makes perfect sense. So, since you brought up negativity in pro wrestling,
no.
let's go ahead and transition into the last topic, the one that was going to be my bridge from the pay-per-views, because it has to do with something that happened at the All-In Scrum last weekend.
Oh, I know where this is going.
I don't know, because I only watch the scrum when it actually comes to the wrestlers talking and getting the questions, because I don't really care about, this happening in business. Is this putting money in my wallet? No. Is this actually affecting how I watch the shows every week? No. So fuck it. Go ahead. This should be quick, and then I can finally go to bed. What is it, JJ? What did Madman say now?
No, it's not what Madman said. It's what was asked of Mercedes Monet.
What?
Yeah.
The final question that Mercedes had brought to her was a gentleman, and I wanted to get his name and what he represented, but I just didn't have the opportunity before we went live today.
Point is, he got chewed
But-
out.
Hold on, James. Hold on.
Let the producer produce, bruv.
So the gentleman basically asked Mercedes about her divorce.
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah. don't go out yet, because there is one other thing, Noah, to be fair.
All right, fine.
Because I know a lot of people have jumped down this guy's throat. And maybe there's a slight justification to it. However, I feel like the way that he presented the question was in a very tasteful way.
Very positive light, yes.
And that's where I wanted to bring this up, because for as much as people are jumping down this guy's throat for asking the question, I could very easily jump on my horse and rip Mercedes 2 new assholes for the way she handled it. He asked her in a very polite way, essentially, what have you learned from this experience, and what advice do you have for someone who may be going through the same kind of struggles, who may be going through a divorce themselves, who may be, and again, playing devil's advocate, I can see how that can be a harsh question to ask, but so much of everybody's lives, not just celebrities, but all of our lives, is on social media.
For the most part, yeah.
Every single one of us, whether you scroll or you don't, knew that Mercedes had filed for a divorce. We all knew this shit. It was out there. I don't know Mercedes Vernado. She didn't tell me personally that she was filing, but it's out there for everybody to see.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want your business in the street, don't put your business in the street, one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, again, I feel the way that he presented it to her was in a polite enough way that he did not deserve her jumping down his throat the way that she did.
Social media as well.
So for those of you that saw the clip, what are your thoughts? And while James talks, I'm going to try to find the clip so I can show it real quick.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up two other things that also happened on this Scrum, because that was actually not the only fucking distasteful thing that happened. And I think they all go hand in hand with each other. This is where I'm going to have a PSA. Because we had actually talked about this in a similar fashion with how Dax Harwood lashed out at JD last week. It all ties in, I think. There was also Tony Khan lashing out about the FTW title being classified as a joke when that's not how the guy intended to word it, and he tried to word it in a better way. And Tony got very defensive, and you could tell he wanted to rip the guy a new asshole, but he was basically, you could tell how bug-eyed he was. He wanted to lash out at him. There was also another one where Ricochet was asked about, what is your thoughts about how if WWE fans, don't go and watch your matches on AEW? And he said, why you do that? Don't you care about me? And very single-minded, very hair trigger responses in AEW. It happens in WWE too, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's been instances, especially when their business is down. Right now, their business is up. But in the AEW, it's a real fucking problem. Mercedes here, the way she lashed out at this guy, digest the question before you fucking lash out. Especially if you were the one that announced it the way you announced it all over social media in a big-time interview of Mercedes. And this is coming from a fan of yours, by the way. He can't stand your ass. I'm giving you shit and I'm a fan of you. You put that shit on the internet and you said, I'm finally free. That's exactly how you worded it, bitch. I'm free. How are you then going to take a guy's question who literally understood what you meant by that, when most other people probably wouldn't, okay, and then attack the guy for asking a positive spin on what was a rough question to begin with? I'll tell you why. Because you wanted to say it once and then be done with it. And you thought that was going to be the end of the controversy. And instead of answering a question from a press person, you had a hair trigger response because you didn't want to talk about it again after that interview. That's not how that shit works. You're a public figure. Act like it. You want to go to these press scrums? You want to be Queen Bee? You want to come out with a fucking goddamn little thing with goddamn corgis on it and act like you're the Queen of England? Act like it. Go ahead and show the clip, JJ, and see how the fuck she handled herself here.
Last question.
Mercedes, Brian Zone, PW Torch. A few weeks ago, you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your life.
Oh, God.
And,
what are you going to ask me?
Well, I wanted to ask you.
I'm not going to date you. Okay.
Well, I'm married 9 years, so thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But I wanted to ask, so you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your life. And I wanted to know, what did you learn from that experience? And specifically, what advice would you give to someone that may be going through a separation or divorce?
Why? Are you going to tell your wife something? You getting ready for something, brother? This is for anybody who's dealing with anything. Just follow your heart and know that you're guided. I went through a hard time, but I knew that I had to because I'm here. I fell down, I failed, I got back up, and I became a double champion. Whatever you want in life, you got to go out there and take, and don't be afraid. I had to take a chance. I had to follow my heart, and I had to listen to my soul. And I can't be afraid of those things. And I feel like people in life, you can't be afraid of listening to legit your heart and your soul. And listening to that led me here. And as you can see, I'm doing great. So,
hey, want to know how I got this?
Great. Ads. Is that where that ends, by the way, JJ? Or did she like start attacking the guy again? Oh, he's muted. Everybody's muted. I'm the only one talking.
I think he's looking to see if
Tonight, the UK.
Okay. Let me know, JJ, when you got it. Technical difficulties, folks. So yeah, go ahead, JJ.
I'm here. Just for whatever reason, the StreamYard tab separated when all that happened, so I had to figure out where everything was. So yeah, that was the clip there.
So I think the initial reason why people got on Mercedes is how her initial statement was like hair triggered. Like,
well, see, more people I think got on the journalist than got on Mercedes. They feel like Mercedes handled things the way she should have, and I think that's horseshit.
That's bullshit. Yeah, I agree.
And it's not just because I'm a Mercedes hater.
No, I agree with you, and I'm a Mercedes fan.
There's a professional way to handle it.
Yep.
And she started out not handling it professionally.
Yep.
She changed her tune a little bit midway. You know, sometimes you got to follow your heart. My heart led me here. You got to make tough decisions. You see, I'm doing well. Like, she changed her tune real quick, probably because Tony tapped her or something. You know.
Oh, you mean what he should have done with Punk? Continue.
But
finally,
we don't know because we couldn't see. But I wouldn't be surprised if he like tapped her under the table or nudged her or something. But
what the fuck?
The reporter, whatever you want to classify him as, reporter, journalist, whatever, quote unquote, presented it in a tasteful way. And the way that she handled herself initially was uncalled for.
Yeah, it was. You shitting me? Dude, that was so fucking gross. By the way, we literally had a very similar conversation, and I mentioned it already, but this is JD versus Dax Harwood all over again. It's literally the same thing, just different people here.
Tell me when and where, Josh. I'm down.
By the way, I agree with you guys, but you know what we do to each other. We play devil advocate just to get other sides. Part of it can be looked at that she kind of answered the question in her character. If you kind of look at the video, if you look at it from a certain angle and you know how wrestling works, part of it could have been that she initially answered it in her character.
Okay.
It kind of works with her.
When nobody else on the Scrum panel is being in character, there's a problem.
That's exactly my point. There's a person on YouTube. I don't know how this came into my recommended, by the way, JJ, but maybe somebody knows her. I don't know. There's a woman that used to work in WWE that runs her own podcast channel named Marie Shadows. It's called the Squared Circle Podcast. She literally covered this entire situation. And she says the reason I don't go off of kayfabe when interviewing wrestlers is because it is not the fucking professional thing to do. And the fact that Tony Khan has not realized this yet in over 5 years of doing this shit is a fucking problem. You'll notice that in WWE, there's a lot more regulated. Sometimes they'll pull back the curtain a little bit, not nearly as much. And there's some goddamn decorum in those press scrums.
Mm-hmm.
Tony needs to take a fucking page off of that playbook and start kayfabing a majority of his fucking shit.
Agreed.
If he did that, I'd have no problem with how Mercedes handled himself there. I agree with what you said, Walter. It makes sense if it wasn't character, but the problem is it's a little bit of kayfabe and non-kayfabe. And that's the issue. Mm-hmm. And this was a real-life situation that Mercedes Renato opened up about.
Yeah, in another interview, she literally talked about it.
Yeah. Like it's so not necessary. I mean, it wasn't necessary when Dax lashed out at JD over the most tame take JD has ever had in his entire career. And it damn sure isn't okay when Mercedes is lashing out over this fan for bringing up the marriage and not even letting him get the fucking question out.
Yeah.
I mean, god damn. Are all the horsewomen just prima donnas? Except Bailey? Like, get a fucking grip.
I don't know about Becky.
I hope to God.
But I haven't been around long enough, so I don't know.
Probably not, to be fair. But god
but I
damn.
mean, just what immediately triggered me was her response of, "I'm not gonna go out with you."
What the
like, bitch, I didn't hear him ask you on a date.
Yeah, dude.
Get the fuck over yourself.
Yep. I mean, it's very similar to this is the AEW motto too. I mean, this has been a problem. We covered it on various shows when the Elite took that victory lap over the bullshit that happened last year, and how that redhead who was a fan of CM Punk got harassed and got death threats. It's a very similar fucking situation to what happened to this guy. Mercedes said that at the press scrum before he even finished his question, and then he got a bunch of hate regardless of how he explained himself. Like, it's bullshit.
And then apparently there was something today at the WWE scrum where Cody was asked about the Janelle Grant allegations.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that scrum, so I don't know to be able to go into context about it. So the question I will pose to you guys is innocence and guilt of the gentleman asking the question in Mercedes aside, or whoever asked Cody the question and Cody aside.
Yep.
Number one, do the scrums need to just die a horrible death altogether? And number two, if they don't, how badly do we need to start vetting the people that are coming in and asking questions? Because you've got people like us. You've got people like Aaron Rift or a Jeff Meacham or whoever, Greg Cherry, who probably will never get a press pass for one of these things ever in their life for whatever reason. And then you've got these guys in there asking these questions and getting treated the way they're getting treated by the superstars.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead first, James.
I'm going to just, and maybe Noah, and I feel like Noah and Walter will agree with me, but I could be wrong.
I was going to say, I feel like Noah doesn't want to speak unless forced to. That's why he's sitting there drinking his Mountain Dew and nibbling on chips.
That's true. But I think he'll raise his hand the minute I say this. Keep the fucking press scrums kayfabe. We don't have that problem. That's it. That's the solution.
Well, I would say keep them kayfabe or keep them shoot. But don't try to wobble in the middle of them.
I agree, but that's why I say keep it kayfabe, because then you don't have that issue at all. You won't have that issue. You'll definitely have that issue if it's a shoot thing, but if you put it in kayfabe, then you don't have that issue, because then there's hard, fast rules of we only talk about the storylines. We don't talk about the IRL shit. We only talk about what happens on television, what happens online that builds to that television in kayfabe. That's it.
Okay.
So
counterpoint, devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't whoever is hosting these press conferences, whether it's Kathy Kelly, Jackie Redmond, Renee Paquette, Tony Khan, Paul Levesque, whoever, come out before the scrum starts and make that announcement to the crowd. And then let the stars come on and be, if they want to be Demi instead of Rhea, they can do that. If they want to be Rhea instead of Demi, they can do that. But you've made it known to the people you have allowed in there, this is what you can ask questions about.
Yeah.
We will not be answering questions about this.
Yep.
If your goal is to ask a question about this, there's the door. Because there's other people out there that didn't get in that would love to be a part of this.
So your argument is that it should be a free thing, and then just immediately state what you're not going to be answering questions about.
Yeah, I'm saying it shouldn't matter if it's kept in kayfabe or if it's kept in shoot. If you're worried about people bringing stuff like this, you just tell them right at the gate, we're not answering any questions about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the simple solution on that, yeah. Actually, I agree.
The argument of freedom of press.
That's a fair point, too.
I honestly, as a fan of MMA and sports world, I don't get why something that's a predetermined sport even gets a presser. Like, why are you doing that? You're trying to legitimize professional wrestling into entertainment. So this is part of it. You're trying to legitimize it, then this is the stuff you got to deal with. And you're going to have to answer it. It's the press. The press are going to ask these kind of questions. Then you got to answer it. And if you don't like it, stop doing these pressers. Stop trying to make professional wrestling, which is where we love. We're all entertainment by as legit as all the other sports. You're trying to make it like the NFL. You're trying to make it like the NBA, like MMA. Don't do it then. Don't do these pressers because that's the shit that they got to deal with.
Okay. I'm gonna counterpoint you here, Walter.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Tony wasn't the first to do it. I know that they kind of started in Japan. Tony was the one that brought it to stateside because he's such a fan of the Japanese wrestling. Tony started the scrums stateside because AEW was still a fledgling up-and-coming company.
Okay.
WWE saw that they were doing it and started copying it. I feel like it means more, at least for WWE, when they go to these international markets to do a scrum, because then you're giving the journalists from that country that may not normally get access to the superstars the opportunity to come in and question them. When you're doing a show in Podunk, Idaho, that you come to that town 2 or 3 times a year, you don't need to do a media scrum. When you're going to Berlin, Germany for the first time in 20-something years, or you're going to Scotland, or you're going to Australia, that's when you do a scrum.
So
I don't think they need to be done for every pay-per-view or PLE, is basically what I'm saying. I say you save it for the special ones.
Yeah, I get it. Totally. Like your WrestleManias, and then when you go internationally, I totally get what you're saying. But if you want to try to make it seem like a legit thing, then these are the consequences. You got to let legit questions be asked and give your superstars media training. There's actually, if you live in the public eye, you live in the public figure, people get asked questions like this all the time. Look at the story of Jennifer Lopez where she's the freaking, Thanos of marrying because she's collecting rings like she's trying to fill up a gauntlet glove because she's got more rings than Tom Brady. But you live in that celebrity world, you're gonna get asked these weird personal questions. You're gonna get asked that. That's part of the sacrifice you made of being in the public eye. Like, look at everything that's scrutinized when you're a Chris Brown, when you're a Rihanna, when you're a Beyonce. every little thing, like, oh my God, she's wearing that. You're gonna get asked these weird questions, and you need these media, how to deal with the media. They have these trainers. There's people that have that job. They train you to how to handle the media. So everybody's gonna have to go through that if you want to continue this Scrum thing. Because you're gonna get asked this, and if you try to ban it or tell you can't do that, it's gonna open up Pandora's box with the whole freedom of the press thing.
I can agree with everything you're saying, Walter, and I do. There is one caveat to that rule. Any comments that pull the curtain back should still not be a thing. I think you should ixnay that entirely for the reasons if you're going to treat this like a legitimate sport, act like it, right? However, in that same token, yes, they need media training for the real life questions as well. So you can have a shoot and work and then blend the realities and then not pull the curtain back on how the business works and really kind of tighten that niche up of pretending it's real in the press scrums. So the sport's real just as much as the stuff going on in our lives are real. And then boom. But yeah, I agree with you. They should all get fucking media training. Every single one of them. Every single person who does a presser. Even if you don't plan on doing a presser in the future, book it. Make it fucking happen.
Yeah,
that should be an industry-wide thing.
It should be part of your training program. You work on how to do promos, how to do this media. Yep. With the world we live in and how social media is blown up, media training should be part of that.
Fucking
because at the end of the day, there's no difference, zero, zip, zilch, none between these media scrums and a red carpet press event.
Exactly.
And WrestleMania week, there's all kinds of red carpet events that these superstars go out to.
Yep. Exactly.
When they go to movie premieres to support Dave Bautista's new role or John Cena's new role, or Mercedes in The Mandalorian, or Drew McIntyre, who's got his role in this new Batista movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
They still get asked these questions on the red carpet. When they go to MTV Awards or Billboard Awards or the Grammys, the Emmys, the Oscars, they still get stopped and asked questions.
Yeah.
There's zero difference between a red carpet event and a media scrum.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Noah, you've been very quiet. We knew you would be. You turned your chair. You ate chips and drank Mountain Dew. You got your sunglasses on. Please give your simple comment to this, and then we will get into the shills and everything.
Answer how you are.
Wait, I don't even know what you said, Noah. Go ahead.
Fiction or nonfiction, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, superstar human being. You were born as somebody. Nothing in your life is private when it comes to the world of media and interviewing. Realize when you're in front of somebody, you're going to be questioned. How far you go to the extent of answering that question is up to your own personal choice. Could have answered if she wanted to. Could have just been quiet if she didn't want it to. Reporter, whether he was talking to the wrestler or the person, blur the lines, black and white, not gray. At the end of the day, this business is predictable. Life's unpredictable. Don't try and necessarily combine the two in any way. A scrum is no different than an interviewer talking to another person. Think about how you would act face to face with somebody you know versus somebody you don't. If you can't handle that, then try and stay off the internet and stay out of the public eye.
There you go.
Yep.
Because I like the way Jade answered. She handled her question. They asked her something. She said, honestly, I'm a little tired of answering AEW questions. I'm here now. Let's talk about what's going on in the now, not my past. She handled it. Mercedes could have very easily said, "Listen, I appreciate the question, thank you, but at this moment, it's a touchy subject and it's a fresh wound right now, and I would prefer not to answer a question in regards of what's going on in my personal life. But if you have another question, I'll be glad to answer that." She could have handled it just like that.
Yep.
And with proper media training, that's how you would have answered that question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or even, like I said, she talked about it in a video interview. I forget who she was with, forgive me. But she could have just been like, look, when I sat down with such and such and da-da-da, I spoke very openly about this.
Yep.
If you want to know my feelings, watch that interview. And then go back to what Walter said. But if you have another question about something else, I'd be glad to answer that for you.
You could also do what we have all recommended in this, not pull the curtain back. And then if you want to still ask those pull the curtain back questions, fucking what like people like Ariel Hawani are for or shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. That's my solution. Just don't pull the curtain back and then have everybody go through media training. There you go. Fucking spot on, Walter. Spot on, Noah. There you go.
Well, that is everything. That is all the topics that I had. We even had some super chats, some side tangents that got us twisted.
Yes. Did you get my graphic, by the way? I don't know if you did.
I did.
Yay! All right, I did it.
The only one I don't have a graphic for is the Simple Man.
Well,
Me neither.
I'll
But
fix
it's
that.
all good because he's simple anyway. So
That's true.
why doesn't the Simple Man go ahead and tell people where they can find him?
Then he can just go to sleep.
Well, if you choose, whatever. And Foster 1916, Twitter and on YouTube.
It's literally the same handle for everything. He keeps it simple.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Unlike some people out there who are on the Simply Predicting panels who have 25 different configurations of their names for their different social medias.
Mm-hmm.
James.
We're talking about Christopher Watts. Sorry, I love Christopher. I'm just saying. It's
I wasn't
true.
going to call out names, but yeah.
I'm just saying I love Chris, but I mean he's definitely he's definitely one of them culprits. You can find me on YouTube and all the other things. J Hebert95. I'm actually back on Instagram and on Facebook at James Heban Hebert. Are they really cool and dumb things on the internets? J Hebert Side of Things has been back. We got 2 episodes. Go check them out if you haven't already. Part of the reason I was late is because we're still not fucking getting part 1 out, and it's pissing me off. At this point, you can make all the goddamn jokes you want because I'm starting to think it's true. Because I think I'm done, and all of a sudden I'm not done. And sorry. I love it.
John Cena's going to have his retirement match before James gets the documentary out.
Dude,
I'm going to lose 100 pounds before he releases that thing.
Dude, I seriously am starting to think that, man. And I want it done, man. You guys, this is so good. We're going to release it in parts, by the way, which is a good thing. But, like, even then, it's like, I want to get it out. It's eating away at me. I want to get it out. But, yeah, still check out the trailers because the trailers are pretty cool. So there you go.
Walter.
I can't get over that picture, but yeah.
Oh my God, Walter.
Yeah. You can follow me on X at Walter Alex Screws. On the Instagram for the business side of things is Cal Fire Farms. And at Rage of Wrestling on the YouTube for all the things we do together. And that's about it for me.
There you go.
As far as me, you can find me on social, the Renegade JJ Williams on Instagram, ROWJJ Williams on the Twitter or X, Casa D18 Studios here on YouTube. And come Monday, Monday. For the Love of Wrestling will return about a half hour after Raw goes off the air, East Coast time. Thanks to my good buddy on the panel who hooked me up with a way to watch the East Coast shows. But yeah, so every day that I don't work at my normal job, BJ's, I will be doing For the Love of Wrestling after the East Coast feed. If I'm forced to watch the West Coast feed, there will be no episode because I'm not going to go live at 10:30 my time, which is like 1:30, 2:30 your time. That's nobody on the East Coast will be around to watch it. As it is, it's going to be hard for the people because it'll be like 11:30 your time when Raw goes off the air. So
there you go.
But I just want to go and start doing it a little bit more immediate after the shows, not have to worry about doing stuff in the morning. Allows me to sleep a little bit.
True.
Because rest is definitely something that everybody needs. And with that being said, I'm going to allow Noah to send us out of here as he always do so that we can all go Betty bye.
Mm-hmm.
So, Noah, take us out of here.
Don't be a traitor, Trot. Good night.
Damn, I was waiting for your normal thing, bro.
Yeah, the good one.
Just
all right,
man.
all right, fine. This has been another installment of the Saturday Night Shenanigans brought to you by the Reliable Network. We thank you all for tuning in as always. I wish to encourage and remind you I am not simply just a simple man that sits wearing sunglasses in the dark, but I also am truly a simple man that is a lifelong fan.
Chase you.
No, fuck off, JJ. We want him to actually do it this time.
Professional wrestling, damn it! And I only wish to remind you there are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans on fans with this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, respect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that.
I almost died of a heart attack, I think. Oh, shit. Okay, guys.
Really quickly, we did get another super chat there.
Oh, Jesus.
26.2 miles outside parts unknown. Thank you very much. He said, I just wanted to admit something. For a while, I thought that James and TJS from No DQ were the same person. It's the backward hat that confused me.
I don't know who TJS is, but there you go. Are you confused yet? No, you confused anymore?
Yeah, also, James is not politically incorrect most of the time in chatting on the screen.
And also, James is usually on time and knows when streams start.
And he's also not in the bathroom.
So that being said,
yeah, that's true.
For the He-Man James Hebert, not TJS. For Mr. Reliable Walter Cruz, for the simple man with the spectacular voice Noah Foster, I am the Renegade of Wrestling JJ Williams saying thank you guys for joining us and tuning into the Saturday Shenanigans, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Holy shit, are you serious? I am literally signing off, Datilla.
Oh, sorry.
What the hell is wrong with you, lady?
Hey, at least she's not TJS.
Sorry.
Fucking believable.
Yeah, your
world do you show up 2.5 hours later?
Well, say goodbye to everybody, Datilla. There you go.
Bye, everybody. Adios. Have a great night. Or good morning, wherever part of the...
We will see you guys tomorrow for our coverage of NXT No Mercy which begins at what time, Walter? What time did you get the
7:30.
street for?
What time is the
7:30?
actual pay-per-view? 8, right? So we start at
I
7:30.
think it's at 7.
Botch! 7
7?
p.m. Eastern
Then
Standard
it's
Time.
Yeah,
6:30.
because it's Sunday, so 6:30
6:30.
Eastern,
Yep.
3:30 Pacific for our coverage of No Mercy.
Mhm.
Hi, Datilla. Bye, Datilla. Good night, everybody.
You didn't even get the sound effect. You came in so late. No.
Bye, guys.
It's all
Bye,
good.
guys. Bye, guys.
What the